on education in this part of the program, and we have the minister in charge of that sector sitting down to answer some questions. Yesterday, His Excellency, the President of the Republic, launched or opened the way for STEM education to continue across the country. Already efforts have already gone into that sector, and a lot is happening to improve the study of science, technology, engineering and mathematics across the country. A further boost to that quest happened yesterday, and the launch was captured live across several media platforms, and we were there. So just to refresh your memory, here's what you may have missed yesterday.
We are beginning what will be the dawn of a new time, a new era in education. The vision of the president is that if we don't transform education, education cannot play its rightful role in transforming the economy. In the fourth industrial revolution, our students should be learning in spaces and learning things that will change their minds for them to transform the country. So the first STEM academy in Ghana is going to begin today here with the short curtain by His Excellency, the President. His vision that in the fourth industrial revolution, for Africa to compete, we need to have great minds starting from kindergarten, focusing on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. He has already commissioned the construction of schools at the senior high school level. 10 schools are going to be opened this year, focusing on STEM at the secondary. But he also believes that there has to be a pipeline, and that is the reason behind the Accra STEM Academy, beginning from kindergarten all the way to high school. Robotics is going to be done. Internet of Things will be here. Artificial intelligence will be here. Mr. President, we are grateful. We are grateful because you've kept your promise to this country. You said you were going to transform education, and the journey began almost 5 years ago, and today we are continuing. Accra STEM Academy is the beginning of something that will transform the fortunes of this nation forever.
I am delighted that a school dedicated principally to the teaching and learning of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, is being built under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Indeed, our world is essentially driven by technology, energy, industry, agriculture, medicine and health, clean air and water, transportation, sanitation, the use, management, and conservation of natural resources. The successful exploitation of all these sectors depends ultimately on the application of science and technology. The time has come for us to reorient our educational system to equip students with the right technological skills needed to succeed in the 21st century. In accordance with government's education strategic plan, targeted increasing our science to humanities ratio from the current one of 40 to 60 to the desired 60 to 40 in favor of science, government is repositioning our educational system anchored on STEM education. Already, as part of my commitment to the advancement of STEM education in the country, government has commenced the development of 20 STEM centers and 10 model STEM senior high schools across the country, which are at various stages of completion. Some of these schools will be operationalized this year. These institutions and centers will be fitted with state-of-the-art equipment and laboratories to facilitate teaching and learning in all areas of study, including artificial intelligence and robotics.
Thanks for staying on. So we've heard the president yesterday at the sword-cutting ceremony in East Legon, right here in Accra, speaking about the vision for the country's repositioned education system, is what he's calling it, and Ghana's 21st century schools is on course, according to the president, with the coming on board of all these extra efforts to bring the STEM education up to speed. So all of this is aimed to give more impetus to the study of science, technology, engineering and mathematics across our schools, and to make its study more relevant to the 21st century needs of people, students coming on, and the country at large. Of course, the education system and the network is quite broad, and so other factors also come into play. So Sector Minister has joined us at the table this morning. The Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Educhum is the Minister for Education and represents the good people of Bosomtwe in, so he's MP for that constituency, and he's joined us at the table. Honorable, good morning, welcome, and a happy new year.
Good morning. My first TV interview, I think, in 2022 is on your show, so I'm excited.
We're excited to have you.
We got the chance to be here today.
Because you had to move a lot of things around to accommodate.
Yes, I have about 6 councils waiting for their inauguration, but I have to do your show.
You have to. Ghana calls, and you respond. Thank you for joining us. Honorable Minister, we've listened to what the President said yesterday at the sword-cutting ceremony. He's talking about repositioning our education system. We are hearing the national curriculum people also making similar claims and attempts to just give everything a different focus. But how crucial is STEM in the new direction of Ghana's education, and what future are you envisaging with the pursuit of this initiative?
Thank you so much for your question. The bottom line is very simple. The president came to office and promised transformation of education. And yes, our education system is one of the best in sub-Saharan Africa. But we are not doing very well compared to other places around the world. Ghanaian children are so bright. They are so talented. I walk into classrooms, I get opportunity to teach sometimes, and you can just see the enthusiasm of the Ghanaian child. You don't have to really convince the Ghanaian child to teach them mathematics and get them focused on algebra, so far as you can have the right approaches. So we have the raw talent sitting right here in Ghana, and we happen to be in the 21st century where everything is about the knowledge economy. It's no longer the case that you have a lot of bauxite, your country get transformed. It's in the 21st century, countries that have transformed themselves did so with quality education. So the president's mandate and approach to this is that I'm going to transform Ghana. But before I can transform Ghana, I have to transform the education system so that I can play its rightful role in the transformation of the country. So when you talk about free senior high school, each one of them, if you look at them critically from an education professional standpoint, education expert standpoint, you see elements of transformation built into it. So it's a means to an end and not an end in itself. Sometimes we seem to think that, we are getting this, it's free senior high school. But we begin to look at why free senior high school? It's not about the fact that we are paying fees for parents and they should be excited. But it's about the transformation of the country. Let me tell you a quick story of what is happening in Bosomtwe. And by the way, I say good morning to the good people of Bosomtwe. I came to office and my focus was to bring some elements of what I was doing in America to Bosomtwe. So I focused on STEM. I remember my first year in office, I did a summer camp focusing on science for the students. 4 years after, those students did so well. And of course, had it not been for free senior high school, some of them couldn't have gone to secondary school. But what is happening now is this. Last year, I was able to get 30 students who qualified to pursue engineering. Because of the free senior high school, in the villages, they were hidden there. They've passed their exams. I went, recruited them, put 30 students through engineering school at UMAT. Fully paid for. Paid for the tuition. I paid for the accommodation and gave them food. We sent them rice and other things. This year, I've been able to recruit 70 students. 8 of them are going to do medicine, 62 engineering at KNUST and UMAT. So within a period of 2 years, I have 100 students who are going to become engineers in 4 years from Bosomtwe. Now, I'm saying this to lay the foundation that the Free Senior High School is now, with my intervention, bringing about transformation in the lives of the Bosomtwe people, because I go to Jachi and 6 students are going to do medicine this year. I go to that center, 9 students are going to do engineering this year. How could this be possible without Free Senior High School? So my district is seeing transformation. I call it Bosomtwe Rising. That if we did the next 4 or 5 years, I have 92 engineers coming from my constituency. The constituency is in transformation. Can you imagine now we have the Yawase Edition Foundation going to do more? If in the next 5 years, we have 500 individuals doing medicine and engineering from one district, the Free Senior High School will have lived to its promise of transformation. So
we're looking at what the 21st, the concept of the 21st century schools represent. And you've mentioned science, you've mentioned technology, engineering, and mathematics. But one may ask, the existing infrastructure has challenges. So if there's any boost to be made, was there a consideration to beef up the existing infrastructure so that that works in favor of perhaps the same vision, as against starting an entirely new program, which the president has cut short for at East Legon yesterday?
Good question. The bottom line is, the way we've operationalized our schools in this country is not inuring to our benefit in terms of organization and efficiency. I'll give you one example to answer that question. I go to a town called Onwe and Abenase in the Ashanti region, actually in the Joso district. And in that town, they are together with the 2 towns, Onwe and Abenase, there are 12 junior high schools. If I want to beef up each one of them will need a library. Each one of them will need a science lab in order for those junior high schools to become true secondary schools. So if I want to change education at Onwe and Abenase, library should be added to each school. Biology, chemistry, and physics lab should be added to each school. Because I can't do that for the 12 schools, I'll just throw up my hands in the air and say, no way. If anything, maybe I can do some mobile library or something, computer lab, mobile computer lab. But I cannot get the resources to beef up each one of these 12 schools. Now, in a 21st century school model, I just put up one building. That is about 1,200 students. Then I build my computer lab, my biology lab, my chemistry lab, the teacher common room will be there. Then I shut down the 12 schools. All of a sudden, all the students who went to the 12 schools previously are now going to be in a 21st century learning environment. I could do that with one building. And it costs less compared to beefing up each one of the schools that are run down. So what we are doing now is that the president's vision is strengthen the lower secondary, make junior high school truly secondary, not to be operated in run-down school buildings. Because if we were to beef up each one of them, we just can't.
You'll be overwhelmed with the needs, the infrastructural needs.
Yes,
so this is in some way, there's an expectation that junior high schools or some basic schools would be shut down sometime in the future.
Yes.
So that they are accommodated in the STEM schools. To what extent is the need to satisfy job market requirements a key factor in this decision?
Critical. You see, the 21st century schools are responding to the 4th industrial revolution. The first industrial revolution was about the steam engine. The second was electricity. The world began to change. And then electronics came, computers. Something that people never. The computers were big ones in big rooms, mainframes. Then small gadgets became computers. You can even use your watch now to do computation, and phones have become computers. But the next revolution is called the 4th industrial revolution. It's the fusion of the biological and the physical. The biometric identification, you can use your eye to open your house. You can sit in your office and check if your refrigerator has enough of the cheeses and everything that people like to eat, and the fruits are in the refrigerator, sitting in your office. It's called the Internet of Things. The world is changing so rapidly that people are going to left and right lose their job. 40% of all the jobs that we know today will disappear 10 years from now. Now, where do we find ourselves as a nation? How do we compete with the rest of the world? Because if we don't do things right, somebody will sit in another country and run our dams for us through the Internet of Things, and Ghanaian workers will not longer have opportunity to work for ourselves. If we do things right, we can also sit in Ghana and run companies around the world, because we are the critical mass with the critical minds to operate in the 21st century learning environment. So this is a call that the president made at the beginning, and it was a response to the fourth industrial revolution, that the Ghanaian child can no longer survive in an environment where they are just memorizing facts. It's called chew, pour, pass, and forget.
So you memorize, just write the exam.
And that is it. And the good thing about STEM is that you can do that. So you can memorize robotics.
One of the main ideas is to practicalize the things that people learn.
Yes.
Now, we have an existing system already, so there's bound to be a transition period.
Yes, please.
What exactly does that transition look like before the closing down of schools, which would come on after the completion of the STEM schools that have been set up? So what's the transition going to look like? Envisaging that perhaps how long will it take for this project to the first school to be opened up? There's a sword cutting yesterday. How long are we looking at to get the first school up and running? And then what will the transition be?
You see, the thing is this. Transition is taking different approaches. As I speak with you, there's a company called Positivo. We are working with them to incorporate different gadgets into the school system. Manfimated these girls, for example. We are going to really work to make sure they have all the gadgets they need to show the world that the African girl can excel anywhere she finds herself. They've done something so commendable. So I'm talking about existing schools being transformed, building their capacity so that they could be part of the whole transformation agenda. New schools being built. For example, the 10 new model schools that the president spoke about. If you go to a school at a town called Abomosu in the eastern region, you would think you're at a university. The buildings that the president is doing, we call them V blocks, V-shaped buildings. Abomosu has 12 science labs. In April, first week of April, when that school opens, you walk into the space and you will not think it's a typical Ghanaian school, because there will be smart board in every classroom. What you see here for your show, you see it in every classroom. Teachers will own the classrooms. So it's not going to be a situation where the students sit in the classroom and you know how they write on the walls and say, Atuli Pele was here 2021. Right.
Somebody was here some.
Somebody was here some. So the transition that we're talking about, it's taking different angles, multiplicity of strategies. So existing schools may see change. For example, in Fansepem, great institution. Now they have a STEM center, which is nearing completion. So in Fansepem, we will get an academy where students can focus, instead of doing home economics, for example, or general arts, they will do STEM and do engineering and robotics and artificial intelligence. That's in Fansepem. So the transformation will take different approaches, but the major part of it is when you build an existing school, a new school, and then it can absorb students from that community. So transforming new schools at the secondary, existing schools at the secondary level, building new schools, and building high schools where you don't separate the junior and the senior.
So the National Council for Curriculum Assessment is also championing certain reforms when it comes to the Ghana Education Service educational systems. And key among those things is to consolidate or to bring JHS as we know it now and SHS together. How does it factor into this STEM journey that you're telling us about this morning?
You see, the STEM is an approach to learning and study, but you have to really have the equipment and the tools for it to come live. In terms of the span of schools that we have in this country, when we say span, we have the primary school, we have the KG, we have the junior high and the high school. What has happened to us before 1987, this was not the case. Before 1987, we have secondary school. So that is why you never heard of high school in the names of schools, except, let's say, Kumasi High School, where I did my sixth form.
Or Accra High School.
Our Accra High School. There are very few of them. All of them were called secondary, right? And you see, when we talk about Accra High, it was not Accra Senior High. It was Accra High. It was combining what we now do with junior high and senior high. So what has happened to us as a nation after 1987 is when we separated the lower secondary from the upper secondary.
Okay, so now we are going back to basics.
We are going back to basics to have that opportunity that if we are building new schools, the children from that locality can have their lower secondary at that senior high school. So when we say high school, we should be thinking 6 years continuously. But it's not a new system. It's not a new system that's senior high school is going to be 6. No, high schools in Ghana is already 6 years. Except that we separated the lower secondary from the upper secondary and made it 3+3 disjointed, not taught by the same group of teachers. But you have a situation where the lower secondary was seen as the extension of primary school. They wore the same uniforms until recently, taught by the same teachers, and there was nothing secondary about the junior high. It was always about junior high school, an extension of primary school, and now things are shifting.
So now the assessments that the reforms that are being called for include some of the things that you've seen already on the screen. Kindergarten, primary school, JHS and SHS shall all be described as basic school. JHS 1, 2, 3 and SHS 1 shall now be referred to as BS, I believe it's basic 7, 8, 9 and 10 respectively, i.e. SHS 1 shall now be called BS 10. So all programs in JHS 1 to SHS 1 shall run a core program called CCP. So we are seeing some of the proposals that are being made and the implications for what it means for subject learning and the subject that will be taught in schools and what the pupils are expected to get from the programs. And I come back to my original question about how the move from this system that we have now to the envisaged system is going to look like. Because what does it mean for moving from JHS to senior high school? Are we still going to have the selection of senior high schools as we do now? And what does it mean for all the regional, all those modalities that come with selection of schools? Those are all going to be stripped off?
The bottom line is this: we're in a transition. Some decisions have been made, others have not been made. For example, there was this idea of basic 8. There's nothing basic about secondary. Secondary schools are secondary. So some changes are being made in that regard. Some terminologies are just confusing. I want my child to know that you are in secondary school. You are not basic. And primary, secondary, all the way up. The bottom line is this: at the appropriate time, decisions will be taken regarding when there will be an exams and when there will be no exam. Because some people are saying, oh, if everybody is expected to be in secondary, why the exam? The exams may come in as a way of selecting which school you can attend, not necessarily as saying that you can't go. Because since the introduction of free senior high school, the president has directed that nobody should be held back. So in cases where a student fails English and mathematics, they go back and resit and then come back. And the government pays for the resit fees. So the bottom line is this: at a point we will begin to see the redundancy of certain assessment. And if the assessment is about subjects, you may want to do an aptitude test at certain stages. But you see, the benefit of this test always is also to know what the children have studied and what they are proficient in. That is why now we have the national standardized test. which is going to enable us to truly know how our children are doing. One of the unique things about education systems around the world, somebody who spent most of my time outside the country before coming back, is that education system that have worked has some unique attributes. One of the attributes is that they don't wait for 11 years before they test their children nationally. This is what we've done in Ghana. Until you hit JHS3, Ghana, the country that has invested in
has
you,
not assessed your level of education.
Doesn't know how well you're doing. So the national standardized test now, this year we did primary 4, is going
for
to
public
give,
schools.
Public schools. It's going to give
what was the outcome? And just to shift focus from STEM a little bit.
98% participation. The results is not out yet.
Okay.
Yeah, when the results come out, I'll break it on your show, on your news.
We would love to have you.
Yeah, we'll come back with the results.
Okay.
And it may not be that good, but we have to confront the reality. The reality is that when a child goes to school and reach primary 6 and cannot read, it's an indictment against us.
So in all this, it all sounds like a good plan on paper. Are we preparing the stakeholders for this change? And how far have we gone with those preparations? Because the teachers who will teach these subjects need to be brought up to speed on what exactly they're expected to deliver and impart onto the children. Is that being done, or
yes,
has that been done?
As I speak with you, the trainers have been trained. The teachers of all junior high schools are beginning their training for the Common Core curriculum.
Okay.
And the primary school, we did the training. But I know for a fact, because I signed off on it, and the trainers have been done. They are going to then, they call it train the trainers. They are now going to be training all junior high school teachers across the country. I believe it's starting next week.
I'm glad they are in training, because I'm curious to find out what a typical classroom in a STEM school would look like. You've mentioned that there will be some electronic, like the use of technology, and it may not necessarily follow the same format. So what kind of changes are we expecting to see with this new innovation?
In the 10 model high schools that are going to open, what you're going to see differently is that when you walk in the classroom, it will be the teacher's space. Some small fridge by the corner, beautiful table for the teacher, smart board. Teacher have tablets sitting there for kids to use. And the teacher has a key to his classroom in the new schools. Why is that so important? The space should be decorated. If I walk into a physics lab, the wall should be decorated to reflect that physics is being taught there. The physics lab is the physics teacher's classroom. A history teacher has his classroom. The whole idea is that the 21st century learning environments are not what we experience in this country now. Since we can't change every one of them, we have to begin from somewhere. So I want a teacher to wake up in the morning and can't wait to get into his classroom because the environment is inviting. And that is the future of education in Ghana, but we are starting.
So sort of like what we are seeing on the screens, these are artistic impressions of what the teacher's space, the classrooms are expected to look like once the STEM education schools open across the country. So a lot.
You enter there and it's like a
something
shopping mall.
Like this.
Beautiful.
Okay, so the students move around and they go to the class that's on the timetable at whatever time
and
they're supposed to go.
And meet the teacher in the classroom.
So the teacher doesn't come to meet the students. Students go to meet the teacher.
And the teacher decorates his classroom. The vocabulary for the week is on the wall. And this is a high school. So I go to my geography teacher's classroom and I walk in there and I have the vocabulary for the week. I have activities already outlined. When I get in there, I sit down and begin the activity. So the teacher is not a visitor, a stranger to my classroom, and I sit there and the teacher is coming. No, the teacher owns the classroom and owns the learning space. That is the 21st century learning environment, and that is what high schools and junior high school ought to be. And as I said, we begin from somewhere. It's not going to be a total transformation one day. If I have a magic wand, I will just do it. But I don't have it. So what I have to do is to begin with the reality that some spaces are going to change. We have about 10 junior high schools. Contracts have been awarded. And when they complete those schools, you're going to see a shift, total shift. The building and the fact that the old rundown schools will even stop operation, move the kids into this environment, Their uniforms were just like uniforms of senior high schools. And you're going to see happy moments that some communities have never seen before. I'll be inviting you.
We are going to see happy moments, is what the Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, is saying. He represents the people of Bosomtwe. And we've talked about smart classrooms and smart teachers and smart boards. And CAF is on the smart board in the studio now. He's ready to read your questions and comments about what we've talked about so far, and perhaps take a few of your questions for the Honorable Minister as he sits at the breakfast table with us this morning. Remember the number 055-55-61034. So, Education Minister, what's your question? He's here to answer them. CAF?
A ton of questions. I'll start with this one from Samson Abakrampa in the Central Region. STEM is the way to go in our 21st century, but the policy will be a fiasco if the facilitators, the teachers, are not well remunerated. And Samson wants to know when the teacher's motivation and intervention will be paid. Mr. Minister.
Teacher intervention. I'm making the announcement on your show.
Yes.
Yesterday, I signed up for the release of 60 million CDs for teacher intervention to be paid. So the announcement has been made on breaking news on your show.
You heard it here first.
We love it. Teacher interventions, you've signed off.
Yes.
60 million Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Fantastic.
That's
That's covering
the senior high school near you.
Okay. Covering how many teachers?
Covering how many? All teachers in high school. And in fact, it's not just teachers. The schools have a formula that they use every year because they know that the non-teaching staff are also impacted. So I can't describe how they are going to work it out. But GS always send directives, and the schools know how they share. They share the money.
Okay,
great stuff. With extracurricular activities being a key context for the 21st century educational system, what is the ministry's plans for improving extracurricular activities like cadet corps in schools? This is Ibrahim from Tanzania.
Cadet corps is my favorite thing. In fact, some of the new schools that we are opening, we're going to have 100% cadet corps. Every student in the school part of cadet corps.
Like compulsory vaccination?
No. Like you choose to go to any school in this country. That's one thing that Ghana does very well.
So
they don't force you to go even to your neighborhood school. Even your neighborhood school, if a high school is sitting here, the student is not forced to go there, unlike in other places where you go to your neighborhood school.
Yep.
So if the school is 100% cadet, focus on Air Force, and you don't like the Air Force cadet,
don't go to that school.
No, you go to another school that do the military. And if you don't like to be in cadet at all, you don't have to be in 100% cadet school. But the bottom line is this. If you look at the Air Force and what they do, if you have Air Force cadets and they're doing aviation and aeronautical sciences at high school, you have a pipeline to the Air Force, and you're going to have a great country.
Awesome. More messages, 055-556-1034. Please, will the STEM be part of free education? This is Sumaila Adams from Dansuman.
Yes.
Simple and sweet.
Simple and sweet.
Please ask the minister when the schools are resuming, because teachers and students are confused now. It's
announcement will be made today by the Director General of Ghana Education Service. The calendar is approved, signed off. He will make an announcement today.
Can you break it here?
No.
You don't want to take the wind out of
the sales of the whole Director General of Ghana Education Service.
Okay, so
he's a big man.
He is a big man indeed. Andrew says, good morning. Thanks for the questions. Thelma, a few questions. What plans are being put in place to make the country attractive to keep the STEM graduates in Ghana for a few years to come? And who is the gentleman on the educational reforms outlined?
So we don't want a brain drain when we've managed to actually train people, and we need them to present ourselves as a country into the 21st century world, and they are nowhere to be found.
They'll be found here because the plan to keep them is to include internship even at high school, so that the companies know the talent that is in the country. You see, invariably, there's this disconnect. Companies are complaining that we don't have the critical minds to run our companies, and the students are crying that we don't have jobs. The matchmaking is through internship. And that is something we're going to even do at the high school level. It's so critical that we match. It's so critical that companies begin to understand the resources that we have here. And that is why we're beginning the high school curriculum and bringing companies into the high school curriculum development. Because we are going to create for them. Why should we sit somewhere as a Minister of Education and design a curriculum without even involving university professors and bringing in the AGI, Association of Ghana Industry, will be part of the curriculum development. I want them to tell me that these are the kind of people we want, and if you produce them today, we'll take them. So that is something that we need to do a better job at, bringing industry into education and ensuring that we train the people for them. And that is how they will take the graduates. Sometimes we just say, oh, the economy is not growing fast enough. A number of times when I meet industry, what they also tell me that we don't have the people.
Okay, so that disconnect has to be done.
Has to be done.
Okay, Hernandez wants to know when the newly trained teachers will be posted. When is the release going to happen?
Now, actually, I know they've done it now. Release may happen any moment from now, because that is something that has been worked on, and we got clearance from the Ministry of Finance last month, so we are ready to roll.
Great stuff. Okay. Frank Oteng wants to know how will the STEM students perform better when the salary of the teachers are not?
This is what I know. One thing I know is that we may not be the best in the world, but we are striving to bring about some changes in that space. You know, there was professional development allowance and other things that have been done. And we are praying that with the improvement in the economy, a number of things will change in terms of remuneration and compensation across the country.
Great opportunity for me to chip in the issue about the UTAG strike, perhaps, and to ask if any engagements have been made to resolve this impasse that you can share with us.
Yes, today there's going to be a meeting at National Labour Commission just focusing on the UTAG issue. So you'll hear more by the end of the day today.
Okay. More questions. How is the STEM policy going to be operationalized? Is it one per district or one per community?
You see, the thing is this. We have, at the high school level, there are STEM centers that have been built that are going to be operational. I mentioned in Fansipim, for example. Accra High, there's also one there. So at the high school level, we're going to have them across the country, because the beauty of our education system at the high school level is the fact that you can do a boarding school. So if you are in Zabsugu and there's none there, you can go to Tamil, you can go to some place, and you can have opportunity for STEM education. At the basic level, what we have begun is the regional levels, like the one in Accra, the Accra STEM Academy. There's going to be a Kumasi STEM Academy, Tamale STEM Academy. The Badia, the Arab Development Bank, has committed to this. They came to my office, saw the drawing, they were excited. They've committed that in every community there's going to be one. But at the high school level, 35 of them has been approved under the current budget. So it's almost like building PRESEC 35 times across the country. 9 will be done this year. So high school level will move very fast. And that is why in certain communities, we will do well to include the junior high, so that once there's a STEM high school at a community, the junior high school students in that community go to school there. So automatically, the junior high school system in that community is transformed.
I'm trying to create a mental picture about what all this means. It's implying that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that, for example, the junior high school that we know now may move into premises of perhaps the senior high schools as a beginning point. It means if junior high schools are going to be merged with senior high schools, then we are potentially going to have 12, 13 or so year olds going into boarding school, because that's junior high school.
Junior high school is not boarding.
So but that's what happens when the JHS system we have now and the SHS system are brought together into the
junior high school
reforms that we are being suggested.
Junior high school is not going to be boarding. What I've suggested is that we have different pathways, like the Abanase Onye example. It's going to be a junior high school by itself, not linked to high school, but it's going to be a larger one with all the gadgets that you need. From there, they will choose to go into senior high schools in other parts of the country. So the approach, there's like a bifurcated kind of thing, that in places where you have to transform junior high schools, strengthen them by building a facility for them, equipping the teachers with facilities that will make junior high school truly secondary.
Okay, so pending...
Another way is that if you have an existing high school here, or you are going to build a new high school at Abomosu, as we've done, the children in Abomosu who are in junior high school, maybe just about 100 of them, why should they be allowed to go to junior high school environment that will not prepare them very well for the senior high school in their village? Why can't they begin their secondary education journey at the STEM high school at Abomosu? there will just be about 100 of them.
Okay.
And then they are equipped to truly transition to the high school and meet all the children coming from other parts of the country. So they will be part of the success story.
Okay.
At the high
Thank
school
you so
level.
much. More messages on 055-556-1034. Isaac wants to ask when you will ask NACA, the curriculum people, to give primary school textbooks for the new curriculum that they started rolling out in 2019. Are you aware that there are teacher deficiencies in some of the basic schools in Ghana?
I'm fully
especially
aware.
the rural ones.
I'm fully aware. I'm the Minister for Education.
And what's the
Fully
plan to
aware
remedy the situation?
of the challenges. What I've told Ghana Education, they are deploying teachers now, and the goal is that every classroom must have a teacher.
Okay.
And consequently, they've done a list for me of where they are deploying, and we are going to follow keenly to make sure that with the postings that are being done, teachers will be everywhere. Okay. No classroom should go without a teacher.
How about the curriculum? NACA. Primary school books.
It seems like everything I'm saying is being done now. So on your show, you have so many breaking news happening.
So tell us about the NACA. What's the
The
breaking news?
NACA, as I speak with you, they are negotiating with publishers. And within the next few weeks, books will be printed to go to the schools.
A teacher wants to know.
For the core
Go ahead.
subjects.
Go ahead.
But as a follow-up, so these would be a curricula for what is being taught now.
Yes.
But is there something being developed for STEM education, which the
Yes.
president launched yesterday? And
Yes.
should we see that taken off as soon as it's ready, or will that also require us to wait a couple of years, like in,
You see,
in
the
the case of
STEM
this new
curriculum will
curriculum?
come in both in two ways. Majority of it will be on gadgets, e-books. Activities will be online for the students. And where we have to do the book, NACA has constituted a committee that is looking at STEM books so that we could get them ready as the schools are rolled out. But majority of the work will be done online, and you're going to see more tablets for activities than the book as we know it.
Okay. Somebody was asking, do lesson notes disappear now with the tablets, or the lesson notes?
The lesson notes, I think we've spoken to it. There was a policy that every teacher must write everything on a piece of paper every year, repeat it. Even if you are copying, you don't care. No. Once you get your laptop, you do your lesson notes on your computer.
Louis Agbo has sent us this message 47 times. Please, can you ask when the graduate teachers will have the chance to apply?
I'm not sure. What I can tell you is that since the last 4 years, we hired 93,000 teachers. Majority of them were graduate teachers for free senior high schools since the enrollment went up. Now, what we are doing now is focusing on the basic schools. Once we deploy them, we are hoping to get some clearance for graduate teachers, and we'll be able to do that. Because the graduate teachers were not trained in colleges of education where we have to post them. So we are hoping that with clearance for graduate teachers, we'll be able to recruit some more.
And this issue is a worry for some, because there are some who think we went to teachers training colleges, we went to TTCs, and others went to universities to get degrees. What's being done to, ruffle the, not to lay all these issues to bed when it comes to
I mean, there are some
the
who say, I'm also a degree holder, right? And I can teach basic school. So why are you choosing somebody who went to College of Education? You see, the College of Education people are bonded. It's kind of a legal relationship that is created with them. And it's not for nothing. Because once upon a time, there were shortage of teachers. Now we don't have shortage of teachers. So some people make the same argument that, okay, there are no shortage. Why are you prioritizing colleges of education? You see, the issue that we have in Ghana is that even though we don't have shortage of teachers, we still don't have teachers in every
the classrooms, because
and it's a deployment.
There's teachers looking for opportunities to get to classrooms to teach, and there are schools that want teachers to be there, but there's a huge gap.
You'll be surprised that's why I said there's a deployment challenge. None of the communities, teachers don't want to go there.
So what's the plan then to make the teaching in rural communities especially more attractive, especially for those who may not be from those regions, those communities, so that they serve as an incentive to take them there?
You see, the plan is very simple. The union and GS have been at this for some time, and I want to see that we expedite the process of incentive for rural teachers. It has been discussed, and we want them to prioritize it, move fast on it. One of the things GS has proposed to do, for example, is when they fast-track your promotion because you taught in a rural area. A very good incentive for the teacher, because when they fast-track your promotion, what it also means is that you are getting a higher pay faster than you would if you had not gone to the rural area. So there are a number of things in play, but like you, I'm also frustrated by the fact that classrooms in rural areas don't have teachers. And the interesting thing is this. If you look at what they are doing, the deployment that they are doing this year, unlike the previous years, they are marching against schools. So they are not sending a number of teachers to the region and asking the regional director to post them. They've looked at all the vacancies across the country, and teachers are being penciled in that you are going to this school, you are going to that school. So this approach will serve as better than the approach of sending 200 teachers to Ashanti region and asking somebody to post them. So I think what they are doing now will really serve the intended purpose of matching a teacher to a vacant classroom across the country. And once we do that, then we'll be able to really fill the need. The spots that are empty should have a teacher. A teacher to every classroom should be the norm. It shouldn't be that I go to Accra and there are more teachers than we need, and I go to a village in Ashanti region, Bonkoko, in Bosomtwe constituency, and they don't have teachers. So there has to be that matching and then incentive created for them to even stay there longer than the minimum of 3 years that GS requires teachers to do.
I would guess that for STEM education, there also has to be a system for teachers to identify the talents in their classrooms that may be rife for these kind of specialized systems available in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And today, Honorable Minister, we're excited. We would be elated if you could stay a few minutes longer and meet an incredible young man that we brought to the studio who has made a great innovation. He's made a motorbike. This is a guy who finished junior high school as we know it now. We are being told in the future those high school systems may change. By a junior high school student who has invented a motorbike. And this is a story that has captured a lot of headlines. And we're excited that you get the opportunity to meet this young man, because identifying the people who need STEM education could be the turning point for the direction for this whole thing. So I'm excited. I will be even more so if you could spend a few more minutes to meet this gentleman. But I think there's still a lot more.
There's so many messages. It's a town hall. It's a virtual town hall. So Prosper Yao Agbeko, Frafraha Community SHS wants to know whether agriculture education is part of the STEM program.
At the high school level, of course. Agric is science. We do agric science. But things have to change with agric. You know, in some high schools, students are not interested in agric. Not because they don't like agriculture as a profession, but it's because of how the curriculum was designed. We done agric as a pathway, because everything in Ghana has become a pathway. Once upon a time, you took a course in visual arts, or you took a course in agric science, and that was it. You go to the university and you can become agricultural scientist. Then we changed our education system with all these pathways. Students box into agric, students box into visual arts, a door of no return of sorts. And the agric pathway that we created, the universities are saying no. Most of them are saying they will not take students who did agric for the agric science at the university, because they are not interested in the student learning about horticulture and animal science at high school. They are interested in students learning biology, chemistry, and physics and agricultural science. When they come to the university, they will make them agricultural scientists. We need to change this madness. How can we sit in our own country and disadvantage our own youth because we're not willing to collaborate with the universities? So these things are going to be things that we should eliminate from our system in such a way that students will love to do agric because they know it's also a pathway. When they get to the university, they can do agric science. So these are some of the tweaking that needs to be done. But let the teacher know that agric is
part of it,
front and center.
Awesome.
We've had science, technology, engineering, mathematics. What about the other creative arts? And is there a place for them in this STEM program? I'm talking music, arts, painting. You've mentioned visual arts, and perhaps home economics, carpentry. What's the plan for all this in STEM?
You've done your research very well. TVET transformation is something that is also ongoing in this country at this time. You know that all the TVET schools used to be spread across various ministries. Labor had a number of them. They've all been moved to Education Ministry. And now they have a Director General of TVET Service, Ms. Mausi. So you see, what is happening in this country now is that TVET space is being transferred. We have a dedicated Deputy Minister in charge of TVET. So with the transformation that is taking place in TVET, the equipment that the President has brought into TVET schools, all the 35 NVTI schools have been given new facilities. New equipment has come to them. And now, the good news is that TVET through MVTI and the ISS schools are all part of the Free Senior High School. So these students this year will be able to select to go to MVTI, and it will all be paid for by the government. They don't have to pay fees anymore.
Okay, Doug. Exciting times ahead, I would say.
Okay, a couple of quick questions. I want to know whether the private school teachers will be included in the new curriculum training.
Oh, they've been included.
They've been included.
In fact, their association has met with us and they've been included in the training.
When will textbooks be distributed to the teachers? It's been 3 years now.
I think I mentioned that. As I speak with you, the core textbooks are close to the completion of the procurement process. They are meeting the publishers now, and the core textbooks will come out in the next few weeks.
Two quick more ones. One teacher, one laptop policy. When will basic school teachers receive theirs?
As soon as school opens.
Which is to be announced today.
To be announced by the Director General of the GS.
What is the NST and
National Standardized Test?
Yes. This year, when will it come on?
We don't have the date yet, but it will become. We will announce it much earlier on.
Okay.
Okay. So we understand that you have a lot more questions. We have tried to keep the focus on STEM because that's what was the sword was cut for by the president yesterday. So government envisaging a system of bringing gifted and talented education into a 21st century education system for Ghana, and the vision is generally to reposition the entire system to make it more relevant to the current needs. The Honourable Minister has told us that perhaps in the next 10 years, some of the jobs that are available now may go extinct. So there's an agenda to get the younger generation ready for the prospects of the future and what it means by way of technological advancements. In that vein, we are celebrating a young man this morning who has used his own creative skills to make something that puts Ghana's name on the map. And he will be demonstrating what he does pretty shortly whilst the Honourable Minister is here. We've been honoured to have the Honourable Minister for the sector of education, and he's been answering our questions and yours. He's also MP for Busumtrin, and he's made a few key announcements. School reopenings will be announced today. 60 million released for a teacher intervention to be deployed pretty shortly, and a host of other things that he's spoken about. But, Honourable Minister, I will beg for a minute so that you observe this next thing we are about to show you and our viewers at home, and then let me know if there's a plan or you see something there. So go on. Let's see what you have for us. Doc, this is something he made himself. He sat, he conceptualized, and he brought this thing up. Identifying the talents appears to be a key part, like I've said, of this whole STEM journey. What do you see here?
What I see is a great opportunity for transformation of our country. And he has confirmed our determination to bring gifted and talented education to Ghana. Other countries have done it. We've never taken a look at it. In United States of America, they believe that 10% of their population is gifted or talented. So there are specialized schools for them.
This is an electronic motorbike. It operates on solar energy as well.
So children like him should be in different learning spaces. A place where his accomplishment will be celebrated to really get him excited to do more for the country. So I'm so excited that he's a junior high school graduate. I don't know which region he comes from.
Let's engage him.
So
He's right
region?
there. You can ask questions.
What region?
Ashanti region.
You are in Ashanti region. Okay. There's a school in Ashanti coming up, Bosomtwe STEM Academy, which happens to be my constituency. It's supposed to train young men like this. So you have a space there. Abomosu also is coming up. Beautiful school. And we need young men and women like him to be there. So you are lucky. You came out at a time when we are opening STEM schools. And gifted and talented education cabinet memo is now with government. Because I believe that in a country where we want to see transformation, if we get great minds like him, you better focus on him. I'm not saying desert all the people, but we will not be making investment in our nation and bringing about transformation if we ignore him. We ignore him at our own peril. So he has, some people have done this many years ago, right? His is timeless. It's on point, right timing. My people are here, they're going to be liaising with him and liaising with his family to put him in one of the new schools.
Because he's here already, Samuel Abuaje,
Yes.
you made this yourself.
Yes.
I just want you to describe the process to the minister, because he's very interested in STEM education, and obviously we are all very fascinated by what you've managed
so much about
to
him
do.
on BBC.
And some are watching him this morning for the very first time, and they are only just seeing this now, and they are wondering how you made all this possible. Tell us about this journey.
It's a scooter made with wood, and it has 2 motor batteries and a 12-volt solar panel. You can connect your phone whenever you are going somewhere, and it has a radio station also. So, and it can be charged by electricity also when you don't want to use the solar panel. So that's
so you finished JHS, right?
Yes.
What's the plan for the next stage of your education?
I want to ascend in my education to the next level, where I can get the practical aspect and all that.
So what's the plan? I'm sure that in the next segment we will delve a bit more, but because the minister may be jetting off, I just want to take this opportunity to have a little engagement between the two of you, so we see where there is a bridge to be
Your
built.
results is not out yet.
Yes,
right?
please.
Good. So we'll be liaising with him and the family. And the good news, as I said, is that we're beginning these schools. And it's no longer about you have to go to technical school, because engineering is going to be done in any high school. Where we have the opportunity to implement them. So as I mentioned about Infansipin and other places like Accra High, engineering will be done there. So we'll find you a school where you can pursue your dream and passion, and make sure you do something big for the country. Right? So we are really excited about what you've done. I'm very, very happy that you'll be able to invent something that is not just saving us on fuel, but you are also looking at the 21st century. That this is an electronic bike, and you are doing something that I know there are universities around the world that will grab this young man if we don't protect him. Exactly. Yeah, after high school, he may find himself at MIT. Yeah, they will come for him, and that's why I'm encouraging universities in our country to go for talent. So
now,
high schools now are going to get the opportunity to go for talent. And the STEM schools is the place for him, because in the STEM school, he's not just learning about the outer side of it and the physical side of it, but also going to learn about the science behind what he has done. So he now going to discover more about electricity and be able to teach his peers concepts of electricity.
He used
because of what
solar panels to power this bike. Yeah. And now I'm excited for when the BE3 results are coming out, because you're waiting for your results, right?
Yes, yes.
Honorable Minister, when are the results? Are we to expect the results to come
very
out?
soon, but I can't tell the dates. WIC will tell you that they determine when it comes out. But we're working closely with them.
Perhaps I'll throw my last wrench in here. Honorable, scholarship for Samuel.
No,
is that
I mean
possible?
scholarship. They already have scholarship for senior high school. everybody's taken care of by the government. So senior high school, he doesn't have a problem. By the time he's getting to the university, he will be catered for very well. I have taken care of 100 medical science
One more will
engineering. It wouldn't be a bad idea to throw him in, even though you don't come from Bosontri, do you? Oh, why didn't you get born in Bosontri?
Thank you.
If you were from Bosontri, oh my God, that would be a different story. But don't worry. Okay. I'll also adopt you into Bosontri. But we are coming up with a rural engineering scholarship fund to take care of young men, and then children from deprived communities are going to have opportunity for sponsorship in engineering and mathematics. The president said something profound yesterday. You know, Vietnam has a population of about 97 million. We are 30 million plus. Vietnam produces 100,000 engineers a year, and we do 6,000.
100,000 engineers. Indeed, a big vision, and we are all for improving the lot of the next generation of Ghanaian professionals who will take the world by storm. The Minister for Education, the Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, has been at the table. Honorable, many thanks to you for making time, and we want you back as soon as possible.
No, we'll come. This is a very insightful process, hearing from your audience, and I want to want to be on your show for 2 hours, so the audience will have time with me. You see, if you look at what is going on around the world, some people will tell you that Indians have taken over the world. Google, all these companies are being run by Indians. Yeah. 20 years from now, major corporations around the world should be run by Ghanaians. Thank you.
That's a great way to end the interview. And we just want to express again our sincere thanks to you, Honorable Minister, for making the time. To you and the team who came with you, we wish you the very best. And as a great day to you in the inauguration of all the boards that you have. The Minister for Education has been answering our questions and yours. And hopefully you have a better idea of what the new direction for Ghana's education system is likely to be. And in the spirit of that new direction, here is a follow-up we made with young Samuel Abuaje, who is the engineer who made a solar-powered motorbike, making Ghana proud and grabbing international headlines in the process. Have a look as we gear up to bring you the warmer side of the couch as Valerie sits down with the young man to get into the details of his journey so far.
My name is Samuel Abuaje and I'm a 17-year-old boy and I just completed my JSS term. It all started when I was in school and my science teacher said, David Samhegan,
GBC Studio One. This is the Breakfast Show. goodness level.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
I am 7 years old. Beep, beep, beep.
I am 4 years old.
We are 12 years old.
It's been 1 year since I started my antiretroviral treatment.
You can live a long, productive life with antiretroviral treatment. With antiretroviral treatment, HIV-positive expectant mothers can have healthy HIV-negative babies. Go to the nearest health center, test and know your HIV status. If you are positive, ask about antiretroviral treatment and you will receive help. Antiretroviral treatment is your only option for a long and fulfilling life.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
My neighbors.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
Yeah, all the time. Okay, let's take a peek. I brought my spine.
There are certain things that we do to help the children with their brushing.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
You want it served buffet style?
On-site restaurant.
Complimentary breakfast?
Off of your plate should be vegetables. So in my lifetime, I haven't seen Ghana Black Stars win an African Cup.
Can I show what this person has about?
Yes, definitely.
Where's the camera?
Just stand and turn.
So what's your pleasure than Botras here at that time of the morning? So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
We've got you covered with a trusted team.
Good morning.
It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
So what's your pleasure than Botras here at that time of the morning?
You want it served buffet style? Complimentary breakfast?
On-site restaurant?
Or room service?
We've got you covered.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
With a trusted team.
So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
Welcome back. So in the spirit of the amazing conversation we just had with the Education Minister, we are going to be speaking to the young gentleman who has just been adopted on live television, I beg your pardon, by the Education Minister. So what I have in my hand, this is a vacuum cleaner. So if my cameras will follow me, this is a speaker, like a boombox. This is a speaker as well, and everybody has already been introduced
to his motorbike. So we are going to take you back into time, into when we went to meet Samuel Abuaje for the first time. He took us through how he came by all these things. He is an amazing gem Ghana has just found. So here's an intro into who Samuel Abuaje is and how he's using his God-given talents. Like, I'm super elated. So here's the video.
My name is Samuel Abuaje and I'm 17-year-old boy and I just completed my JSS term. It all started when I was in school and my science teacher said, David Samhegan, a science teacher, he put us in a 20 group and including me. And he said he gave us a science set to work if you can do something or bring something out. So I decided to build a Bluetooth speaker.
I got to know Samuel when he came to Form 1, that is far back in 2018. And I saw him to be kind of laid back and he wouldn't contribute so much in class. But anytime I found out that he carries these sport gadgets like old radio sets, phones, and what have you. So I asked myself, but this boy, what is wrong with you? But okay, so I started to follow him closely, and I got to realize that no, there's something in this boy that it needs to come out, but he will need a sort of help. All right, so in Form 2, I got a chance to form a group for a company in Tema, that is in Dorama. They produce plastics. Okay, so I added him to the group and I gave them the background to electrical energy, that power flows from forward bias motion. Right, so he got it, and I distributed a set to them to just go and work out something. All right, so he came out with an initial project, but it was not all that good. All right, so I asked him to go back, just do something, and you will get it. So I was there, and then he said, okay, I've done a Bluetooth speaker. I said, okay, then let me see, let me have a look. All right, so he brought it, and I said, okay, this is good, let's polish it.
The first component I built was the Bluetooth speaker with the gallon.
Bluetooth.
What inspired me to do the electric motorbike is I saw that in our country, when it gets to the afternoon time, the sun is very hot and we don't use the sun for anything. So I decided to make a motor that will be powered by solar panel, and it can also charge by electricity. The challenges I went through is I was not having the tools to work with and the materials, where I will get them from, the materials and the money to buy the things. Sometimes